Today's Rambam, we're going to learn Tzitzis, Rambam Tzitzis Per Gimel Halacha Vov and Zayin, Ches and Tes. And we'll discuss the uniqueness of the mitzvah of Tzitzis in relationship to the lav and the Torah of Klein. We know that generally one is not allowed to wear Klein. There are a few instances where the Torah allows us to wear Klein. And one of those is when it comes to Tzitzis. And we're going to discuss which cases is it okay. Are there any cases? Again, midrabanan or midraisa, we're gonna go through all that. So let us see what the Rambam says. First of all, the Rambam has told us that there are two parts to tzitzis. There is the white strings and there are the Tcheles strings. Whatever color Tcheles exactly is, it's a bluish color, but it's also made out of wool. And if you're wearing a garment that has four corners that's made out of pishtan, then you're going to obviously be making, you're going to be having klayim, both of the lavan and the tcheles. Now, however, lavan, you have a choice. You can make it out of pishtan. The tcheles has got to be a semi, and therefore it'll become klayim. So let's see what the Rambam has to say about all this. Mahu lasos chutei tzemer b'ksushal pishtim, or reverse, chutei pishtim b'ksushal tzemer. So he says, avapi shehu lava. What's that halacha regarding klayim? Hanging klayim on a beged because we're putting on tzitzis. So now here we're only dealing with Pash, the simple reading is, as we said, the next one. He's only putting on lavan, the white, the way we do, most of us do today. A lot of people, but I have some Tcheles, and that's a discussion for itself. Out of the realm of our discussion here. So, what is that look? Can we do klayim of lavan, white strings, and a beged that will make klayim if I put the white strings? So the Rabbi, the din hu shehi muter, Shatnez muter in Tzitzis, Shatnez is permitted. Shariat Tcheles. What's the raya? Tcheles is tzemer, as we said. Umatil nice in the fish, you can put on a beged of fish. The ma ein oisin came. Why don't we do that? The answer is because we can make the lavan from its own min, which won't be Shatnez. In other words, a lavan can be made out of pishta. The whole mock. Now listen to this. This is a quote of a Gemara, a statement. When you have the challenge of an assay telling you one thing, unless it's telling you something else. If you can fulfill both, in other words, you can do them both. You can have both worlds. You can do the assay and not transgress the leisa. That's a little meaning. It's good. Harei mutu. It's good. And lav yova yes we Tcheles. You can't actually and here you can be do both. Do midnight, and you won't have a problem. Now, what the Rambam is saying here is a challenge to many mefarshim, and definitely hard to understand. But we will come back to that shortly. Let's see the next halacha. Now again, this is talking about lavan. You got a solution. Halacha Zayin. If you have a garment of flax, don't put Tcheles. Remember, Tcheles, when we have Tcheles, don't put. Make the love and chut like we said before. Why? Again, loy mipnei Tzitzis nitchis mipnei Shatnez. Not because we're worried about Shatnez. We just said before. This is a gzeira midavreim shemi is kasabo balaylo. Because you might wear it at night. Shein is man chiv tzitzis. When him say Allah says a bay, shein shemi tzitzis. At night, if you wear these tzitzis, you're going to be over the loisas, and there's no asay to help you. You should see it only in the time of Riyah. You only chayiv in the time of Riyah. The Suma chayiv b'tzitzis. Am bish eine Riyah, achayim Riyah. The Suma is chayiv in tzitzis. Again, this halacha is also constructed very strangely, and we're going to get back to that. And the next halacha seems to follow somewhat what we've said. It is permissible even though we just told you it's not his man, don't make a bracha. What kind of tzitzis? Doesn't say, but he's coming off the previous halachas, means that it's not Shatnez. Halacha tes, v'noshim, v'avodim, sharotzel, v'zadim, v'tidim, v'skatim, v'lei bracha. Same thing. Somewhat like we're at night, there by day. And now he gives a rule in general. They can do it without a bracha. The Madregas, Chayiv Kula, Safik, Vichem Vachem, Leisim with the bracha. Zog the Raive, Dafke, B'tzitzah, Shem, Baklayim. Now, in Halacha Ches, he didn't say that. In Halacha Tes, he feels important to say Dafke, B'tzitzah, Shem, Baklayim. Okay. It's not so hard to understand, but it's all part of the big picture. There are various understandings of the Rambam. Kesef Mishnah, on his own, holds that wearing klayim of Lavan in your tzitzis, your over and Isodrais. The Torah says you should. Tcheles. If you have Tcheles, so you're anyhow, and that Tcheles for sure. Tcheles, midaraisa, you can wear in tzitzis. He said, so if you have Tcheles and you're wearing Tcheles anyway, then you can wear Lavan that's klein. Which is a strange idea, because since when am I over one thing, do I add more? Another thing? One thing is mutter, the other thing I could get away with. Why would I have? As I is. I mean, there's ways to explain it, but that's what he says. And again, when the Rambam writes, you're allowed to wear tzitzis at night, again, and no klein. Then he brings in the name of the Mahari Abuhav, who says the following, that when the Rambam writes Muta Lil B'Tzitzis Balayla, if it's in a time when there's Tcheles, even the white is Mutter Balayla. Because you're allowed to wear clothing whenever you have to, and since Tcheles Mutter, the Lavan is also. I guess the Mishnah goes to bat on that, doesn't like it, asks questions on it. So there's a Sefer Meiser Keach tries to answer the Maria Buhav, and he comes out as follows. Again, once he learns that once there's Tcheles, this beged is mutter. There's no more Tcheles. Tcheles like removes Klayim, that's what I'm saying, from the Even though, how does it fit with the first Rambam? We'll get to that. So now let's see. Come, the Prima Godin, Sai in the Psycha de Tzitzis, and Sai in the Sefer Reish Yosef, which is what he wrote in the Sech Shabbos and Chav Zayin. He has a shaila if somebody wears Klayim Tzitzis today. Does he get mal? Is he chayiv malchus or not? And he brings this Rambam, and he goes through a long arichas, and he learns pshat in the Rambam that according to the Rambam, Klayim Tzitzis is mutter gomer. This efshel kayim shneim is only midrabanon. We're chayshish because my Tzitzis Klayim is mutter. In a case of a real case of Esed Deichel, say you may rely on the same thing that you find by Klayim. So by Tzitzis, so we say a rule. Even by Tzitzis, don't do it if you can avoid it. But I've had it's only in Esed Rabban. Big Kiddush. But I say there's a famous Rav Nissen Goyim. Masechta Shabbos Daf Kuf Lamed Gimel, and it's worth reading, but I'm not going to read it because I don't have time. But it's just going to tell you the basis of what he says. He holds that there is no such a concept of esed deichel loisa, say that there is a loisa, say the essay pushes it away. No, it can't be. The famous kasha, how can an essay which is more chomer deichel loisa? The Rebbe talks about it. Ramban talks about it. There's a lot discussed. The answer is Zakar Nissen guy that the Torah when it told you don't do so and so, never told you don't do that when there's an assay. However, says Rav Nissen guy, then the Torah says, go ahead, then the lav is there. The lav, if it's disturbing an assay, is not there. Was never said. If it's not disturbing an assay, it says. That's the Rav Nissen going to school. So they want to say that's what Rambam means in the Halacha. Okay. Now let's go back and analyze some of the texts of the Rambam, some of the things he says, and try to understand what perhaps an approach that's similar and a little different. Again, his expression "bedinhu shehei muta shahashatnez muta le'inyan tzitzis" does not sound like the regular Esed Deicheles. But then he uses the phrase that's relevant to every Esed Deicheles. Okay, so the Rabbi wants to make Chiddush that it's a Drabanan. Okay. Second, Zayin Halacha Zayin, he stresses the heter of Tzitzis Beklayim. Halacha his lashon is because Tzitzis doesn't exist. It's a mutalinian Tzitzis. Shatnez mutalinian Tzitzis. And Halacha Zayin again he repeats. Why the repetition? We already established that there's no problem with it, and the Raya was Tcheles. So why again the same thing in a different expression? You should have just said, although it's mutter to do this, I want you to know that although it's mutter, it's still asur because it's although Lavan is mutter, Tcheles is mutter, but I want you to know that this is asur because of this, and this is asur because of this. So each one has its own issue. Now, just to one point, according to the Pri Chodesh, and according to the way he writes in Moshe, that it's a Rabbanon. What do we need that first Rabbanon altogether? Because go straight to the Gzeirah, Ksus Laila. Same Gzeirah can take care of both halachas. If it's the Rabbanon. I didn't see people ask that, but It's a problem. What does he have to come up with two stories? What does he need the call mokum? B'chalal this losh call mokum shatamoitza esev leisas im yochel lekayim shnei maremut. So this comes from a Gemara. There, it also says a similar lashon. But what's this lashon of It's a strange lashon. So it says im atiyochel lekayim esev v'loy laver alav. What's this lekayim shnei? Sign the Gemara, sign the Rambam. What is mutter? What mutter? Then mutter, not mutav. Yeah. What's this mutav business? Yeah. Now, the lashon mekayim shneim is a hard lashon. You're not mekayim a lot. You're over a lot, as we said before. Yeah. Gemara says in Kedushin, Yoshav, nice schar. Okay, that's schar, but that's not kiyum Allah. Dr. Rebbe, Perokim Zayin and Tanya brings the Gemara of Yoshav, nice schar. He writes, "Alkein tzorich l'smoyach b'kiyum Allah." Maybe kiyum is the same match. So you find the lashon of kiyum in Allah, but that's not the general lashon in Gemara. Again, the double lashon. He said that already. He established that. He wrote out Tcheles matil. Yeah. Then we have the Maria Buhav that says that when there's Tcheles, what does it mean? Now, there's a big halacha that the Rambam just throws in here, b'derech agav, that Tzitzis is part of my life, right? The Chayiv is Tzitzis be able to allow the Shemer Yisem Eisem Shasriya. This is not the place for it. They should have established that halacha and say here that halacha. And that's not only that. It's not only that this becomes the main source that he has to add the Suma Chayiv B'Tzitzis. Everything thrown in b'derech agav. Why? Establish the halacha, and then right, Gzeira Mishum Sus Laila. Mishum Laila. Yeah. So all these are the issues in the. None of them is just there's a reading of the Rambam that's not coming out of it. So we said before that to understand why the Rabbi doesn't make a ha'ara on the halacha of Laila over the halacha of Noshim, because there he wrote the fair Shemis Kaso Balayla Shein is man Chayiv Tzitzis, and he writes V'nim Tza'oiv Aloisa Sabei Shein Sham Mitzvah Say, so you can't wear it at night. Could be, and the reason he placed the halacha and the limud from Riyah over here by wearing Shatnez to stress that the Petur Laila is not a lack of practical Riyah. In other words, if the Torah is Re'isam Isa, you could learn two ways. You could learn, I can't see. A person can't see it at night, it's dark. A practical issue. I'm sure that if that were the case, there would be a shaila. There would be a shaila whether one can today, when there's lighting and everything, maybe you can wear it at night. But the fact is that the Rambam puts it here to stress, no, it's not a chesron here, and that you need practical here. He's coming to stress that it's a petur be'etzem. Laila is proper be'etzem, and the raya is suma. Because if it were a din and seeing it, you'd need to see it. The fact that others see it, that tells you it's a zman that is a real zman. So it's a petur in the zman of Laila. That's why he brings it here. And that's the way the Ravid says, it's clear. Yeah, but there's no, you can't wear tzitzis at that time because of crying, you can't wear when there's no mitzvah at all. But Noshim is different. Noshim do fulfill a mitzvah. There's can't a bracha, there's no chiyuv. They can't say, I should give the John of mitzvahs of Tzivonu, there's no tzivui. But rather than doing a mitzvah, they wear it. And therefore, he understood in the Rambam that you can wear it even with klayim. And that's why he argues and says no. I had a grandmother, great-grandmother, that was known that she wore tzitzis. She was a very holy lady. So perhaps we can learn the Rambam. Here I want to go a step further. That when the Rambam says, really, Klayim, it says is mutter, shayet Tcheles. However, kol mokum she'at yochel lekayim shnei. I want to say the Pri Chodesh without the Rabban. The Rambam understands from the statement of the Gemara of at yochel lekayim shnei. It doesn't mean you are that there's also a mention here of a new concept. That you have an achrayus to be mekayim the law. It's not, you're definitely not over the law. But you have to establish the law if you can. You have to try to work with the law if you can. There is no iser because you're being mekayim the mitzvah, and that mitzvah is mutter even law. But if you can do both, you are creating a new concept called kiyum halav. That is a big chiddush. There's such a concept. Not, in other words, and that's the mutter. Not iser, heter, mutter. And that's the v'im lav. Then, if him lav, then don't do it. That's all. What's mutter? What's mutter? Should that I answer? No mutter. It's good. Again, I'm not going to sugarcoat this. That this is simple pshat in the Rama, but I'm going to tell you that this is the wording of what he says. And that's the word mutav in the Gemara too. And Rambam learned it into the words of the Gemara. Now, the Shlakish can also be talking according to other opinions, that it's mamish as, but he is also teaching this. That there's an Indian to be mekayim. There's an achrayus to be mekayim, to do both. But if you wore the beged, you're not even. Just want mekayim the law. I don't want to say that's Rambam's stress. Harei mutter. It's not good. You think about it, the words are so out of place. Harei mutter. Osur. Harei mutter. Did a good thing. Harei mutter. The Gemara doesn't use the word. Gemara says mutter. Harei mutter. It's not good. Harei mutter. You. So you're done. Again, I admit, and I will tell you, it's a big chiddush to say such a thing, and I haven't found that they say it. But I think the words will fit beautifully if it's true. I was putting it out there as a possibility if it can be true. Now, if you go according to this, let's follow the thought, the process of the Rambam. Halacha vav, halacha zayin are two separate things. In halacha vav, he stresses that Shatnez and Tzitzis are no problem whatsoever. However, there's a mile of kiyum alav. That therefore, there's no question why he halacha zayin comes along. Okay, if you're telling me, now look at this. If you're telling me there's an union of kiyum alav, so maybe Tcheles you shouldn't either, because you're going to be kayim both. There's a mutiv here also, because you don't need Tcheles as the Rambam paskins and not marking each other. And there's this question that it should be also to wear the Tcheles because of the same svara of Rabbi Shlakish. Taisus says that he can't, because that would be the Torah says you should wear Tcheles. Oh, so that's what the Rambam is saying. If you're telling me you can't allow, perhaps you shouldn't wear Tcheles. So he says, no, no. You don't push off Tcheles because it is kiyum alav. But there's another answer. In other words, what I'm saying is, don't wear Tcheles today. Why? Because, so you would think, maybe because I just what I just said before, kiyum alav. No, there's no Indian in kiyum alav. What's the Indian here? I think, again, I'm not saying that there's no, that this is the simple idea, but it is definitely the best reading of the words of the Rambam. So perhaps it would be a chiddushnik way to understand the Rambam. Be well, atzlocha rabbis, I